All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Run with Johnny from Pro Craps over here on Casino Gaming TV. A lot of cool stuff to talk about today. It's been a while, right? We've been gone for a little bit, and I know it throws everybody's. I hate this. Is like sounds weird, right? It throws everybody's schedule off kilter when I'm not around. I get it. This has become kind of a cool thing, like our little morning get together over the last couple of years. It's been cool. So I just come out of the gate saying thanks for hanging out with me every day. I love it. And I had a good week. I was in Vegas this week. I was out there Tuesday, Wednesday. I came back yesterday, and had a good trip. I was out there for a couple of reasons. One is I wanted to talk to the guys at Casino Quest a little bit, just get some more insight on kind of what they're doing, and just kind of get a feel for the organization, and also to kind of start really getting seeds planted there in person for what's going to be Craps for the Cure. So let me give you a little bit of a heads up on what I did and how it all went. So first things first, I stayed at Palace Station this week for two reasons. One is it's cheap, and you know me, I'm out of money right now, right? We're in the middle of buying a house and losing jobs and all that kind of stuff, right? So I had to be like on the as low as I could. But of course, I played every day while I was there. And I decided to go after this thing in an interesting way this week. And so everyone wants to, how did you play? How'd you do? I'm actually a little bit up for the trip, which is crazy given how small my bankroll was and how low level I played. But I did home run or bust all week, which was really kind of fun. I went out there, either 44 in or 64 across, with a pass line bet and the ATS. And I just did a 555 ATS, 555111 is what I typically do. For the dealers, and I put the change on the hardways for them. So they get the pick two, and that's my money out there. $15 pass line bet, and then 44 in or 64 across. And really what I was doing was taking two hits. Essentially, I'm looking for a couple of hits. One hit for $15 to cover the ATS bets, one hit for $15 to cover my pass line. And if I felt froggy, I would leave it on for a third hit to guarantee $15 in profit, turn my shit off. That was how I played. And then I just rolled the dice, and I was rolling for the ATS, and I just didn't even care. Like, I was there to kind of get some live table time, to just kind of feel the dice, get some throws in, talk to dealers, because that's a break-in shop, right? If you don't know this Palace Station off strip, it's a break-in house. And it's the first place where most CEG dealer students go. Like, they graduate CEG, their first job is like Palace Station, Jerry's Nugget, the off-strip, sort of smaller properties. And so I kind of like that. I mean, one of our locals here is kind of a break-in shop too. And, there's times when I want to play with awesome dealers, right? If I'm like, meet up or whatever, right? And we're, looking to whatever score, I want good dealers, right? But when I'm just dinking around like that, having rookie dealers is great, because because most of the time it was just me and one other guy, or me by myself at the table. I played alone almost the whole time, which I love. So I get the dice back quite a bit. It's like my paycheck show. I get the dice back. I can make adjustments and stuff. But I love talking to the rookies, you know what I mean? And like, if I do this bet and what's the move? And like, they're asking me all kind of questions about, when I make that press, why did that press work? And it was just fun, right? Having a really good time with them. And it was cool. But anyway, I played home run or bust because I didn't have enough bankroll to sit out there and go 64 across and try for home runs, like pressing home runs every single time. I wanted to be in and out of the hand, just kind of just run, throw some dice. I hit the ATS every day. Like, I hit it. I literally banged out an end of that thing every morning. So matter of fact, on the way to the airplane, my Uber was at 4:00 in the morning to go to the airport yesterday, right? I had this 6 a.m. flight. I got up at 3, showered, went downstairs at 3:30. The Uber was coming in a half an hour. I bought in for $100 and literally did exactly that. 15 pass line, my ATS bets, 64 across, and I did a Butterberg. So I took like whatever hit. I don't know. Who cares? The 9 rolled. I took the money and pulled the 9 down. And then the 6 rolled, took the money, pulled the 6 down. Something else rolled, took the money, pulled it down. And then I, took the rest of the bets down, let the thing happen, hit the small for $175, whatever it was. And I walked out of there like with an extra $200 on the way to the airplane, which was a fun way to play. It was very stress-free, not trying to worry about pressing, not trying to worry about making the move, not trying to worry about doing anything other than give me a couple of hits and let's just see if we can't bang out something big, right? It was a lot of fun, actually. And I had one bad session and 2 great sessions. And the last morning thing. And actually on the way to CEG both days, same thing. I went down there for like a quick paycheck run. And the one day I did 88 inside and just literally did 88 inside to 44 inside and out. And I did it twice in a row. So I got 4 hits and I was done, like a $75 win. Bye-bye, fun. Had a good time. Fun playing stress-free that way. Like when you have a low bankroll, you tend to play with a lot of stress, sweat every $10 hurts, right? When you don't have a lot of money. But playing that stress-free home run or bust way, I felt like I could make some good money. And I really didn't have any stress or worry about it. So it was cool. I had a good time. It was a really good couple of days. I got to hang out with the CEG group the entire weekend. It was fantastic. I went to their old facility, the one they're closing. So if you watch David's podcast, though, you know the story. They're closing the current dealer school where it's at, and they're opening a new one. They got a new facility. He's been talking about it now for a few months. So this was the week that they were going to move. Like I went out there Tuesday, Wednesday, thinking that, let me go out there and meet you guys, hang out a little bit in person, blah, 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 and I'll help you move, right? But there was a delay with something at the new place. Anyway, I got to hang out at the old facility, which was great. Packed, right? It's in a strip mall. It's packed. There's 60 students in there. They got tables everywhere. I got to watch somebody do an audition, which was really kind of cool. They were auditioning on the Bach table. That was fantastic to watch how they grill them. And I equate this to my own job because, I teach computer programming. When a student graduates our school, to graduate my school, you got to go through me. I interview you. I give you a hardcore tech interview. Like it's like, people sweat, they cry. It's hard, right? But I got to prepare you for what it's like in the real world. The real interviews are hard. They're harder than, they're as difficult as what I do, but with more pressure because your job's on the line, right? CEG does the same thing. They destroy people, right? And in the best way possible in the audition process. Like, here's a tough audition. You can pass me, you can pass the seniors interview. That's what their thing is, right? I got to watch that. It was really cool. I got to watch them teach a couple classes. I got to watch Lauren teach a group of people. It was cool to see their process like in person. Like you hear David talk about the school and like what they stand for and all that stuff. When you see it in real life and real students, and I watch people come in there and he says it all the time, like off the street, somebody rolls up like, hey, all I got is $350. I need to get a new job. And they're like, fine, let's do it. Let's get you in, sign them up, get into the process. Like they're all about transforming people. That's the whole mission of that group. And, we joke about, they're always making dick jokes and having all this, goofy fun, but I'm here to tell you, when that camera's off, David, Alex, and the whole team over there, some of the most solid people you'll ever meet. I got to hang out with all Dennis. I mean, they're amazing people. They're just like salt of the earth. So you got to know that if you're considering doing dealer training, that's the place to go, man. I'm telling you what. It was cool. The new facility, by the way, is fire. I got to tour the new facility. They're putting the finishing touch. I think they're going to open, I think today, Friday. Yeah, today they're moving. Today is moving day. They're all moving the tables over. But the carpet's in, the paint's done, the walls are all taken care of. It's a great place. It's so big. David talks about how big it is. It's huge. The dealer training area is double the size what they had before. I think it's about the same square footage overall, but the way it's laid out, it's double the space. Like it's square versus super skinny and long. It's really cool. They got a whole area set up to do player training. So besides dealers, you can go in there and have an immersive training of your own, which is cool. Like if you're a new player or you want to just go in there, like for example, part of the player training, of course, we all know craps, right? I'm a craps guy. That's fine, right? But I don't know jack about single zero roulette. Like regular roulette, I got you. Single zero, whole different game, right? And they've got a single zero wheel and a single zero professional dealer there who's teaching people the nuances of the single zero game, which is a whole different way of betting, whole different way of looking at it. Where else can you get that? Right? It's really, really cool. Anyway, you'll love it when you go out there. It's definitely a must visit. Long story short, Palace Station is 2 blocks from there. So I stayed at Palace Station because A, it was a low table limit. B, the room was cheap, and C, it was walkable to CEG, to the new facility. And it's great. Along the way, you got In-N-Out Burger, you got all the good things. So it was awesome. I would stay there again. I love Palace Station. Palace Station's tables are great. Dealers are friendly. They're new, but they're friendly. The room was very clean and it was $50 a night. So all good in the hood. Um, if you watched it, I hope you did. Give me a thumbs up, by the way. Did you watch the podcast? Anybody here watch the podcast on Wednesday with me and David? David, he does his Wednesday night podcast, and I happened to be there with him. So, hey, you want to come on the show? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And he's like, I'll tell you what would be fun. Why don't you interview me? He's like, I'm starting a series on. He's doing a 13 weeks of every casino he ever worked in, like the stories about each job that he had and all the. So I got to help him tell his origin story, like his very first, car, and like literally David from Casino Quest, right? Y'all know him, Daddy David. His car breaks down on the way to like through Vegas, and oh well, shit, we got no money, we got a broken car. Luckily, my new wife's grandmother is here in town. Stayed with her, lucks into a dealer training school, and off he goes. Right, the whole story begins with a car breaking down. It's a fantastic story. He's such a good storyteller. Anyway, it was great. That was super fun. So hopefully go back and watch the podcast. It was great. And I got to watch them film a challenge. It was cool. Before I left town, I got to hang out with Ten Ton, who's the co-host of Casino Tears with Ed Robbins. They do it, and by the way, they do it every Tuesday. They do a podcast. It's not live, but they release it on Tuesdays. He and I got together, and I had met him before just over the phone. Just like he and Ed had met kind of over the phone. And what him and Ed did was what he and I didn't do, which was make something out of it, right? They made a podcast out of it. And I love Casino Tears. And I was telling him, and I tell Ed all the time, like my favorite medium is podcasting. Like not for me. I don't know if I'm very good at podcasting or not, but I love listening to podcasts. Like I am, as much as I love Waylon, and Waylon's, hi Waylon, much as I love you, I don't like watching your channel. No, I'm kidding. To me, strategy channels are fun for a few minutes. Like I like to watch the first 5. What's the strategy? I like to go to the end and see how you did. I get something out of that educationally, but I don't get something out of that from a time perspective, right? It's hard for me to listen to Waylon or Mark the Point or Jeremy from Color Up as I'm driving in the car. Like that, it's hard for me to picture the bets while I'm driving. So I spend a lot of time in my car and a lot of time walking my dogs. So to me, putting the headphones on, walking the dogs, or in the car, I actually like podcasting has replaced politics radio for me. I used to love political radio. Now it's podcasts, right? So having Casino Tears as a podcast with friends of mine, Ed, and now I can call Ten Ton a friend. It's better. I can enjoy that more. I love that 45-minute to an hour respite from life with them in my ear, and I can actually understand what's going on, hear the stories. It's great. I love it. But he was great. We had a great dinner. Got to talk. It's funny, like when you talk to people, how much you find you have in common with somebody. Funny thing, David and I were talking about our childhoods, right, before the show aired, and he was telling me where he's from and all that. Because I'm from Jersey, and so is he, and he lived in a city called Island, New Jersey, which like 5 people here probably have ever heard of that town, right? I lived there too. It's like, who in the hell ever even heard of Island, right? We both lived there, which is crazy. Ten Ton and I have a ton of things in common. Like, right, growing up, we both played bass, played in band. I mean, it's like we had this like instant synergy. Like we sat there at dinner, and I think I met him at like 7:30 at a restaurant at the Aria, and we closed that place down. We sat there and talked for like 3 hours. It was freaking awesome. He's a great dude. If you're not listening to the Casino Tears podcast, you got to, right? It's great. It's not. I don't want to say it's not serious. It is a serious show. But it isn't like hardcore like me, all math and all this kind of, it's just like 2 dudes talking, having a good old time, cracking jokes, making fun of each other. It's a great podcast, right? And it's a level up over what's out there. I think some people try too hard in their podcasts. They're trying hard, but it doesn't feel like it. You know what I mean? Like it's very natural and organic. So dig the show, get on that thing. It's very fun. He does not have an Alembic. He may have one. He didn't show me his bass, but I showed him mine. And it was yeah. I actually asked him for some pictures. I want to see what his gear, what his setup is. But he's a legit musician. Like I'm not. I'm a hacker. Like I am a hacker bass player. Like I literally played thrash metal when I was a kid just because it was fast and loud and I could be a little bit sloppy and nobody cared. That was mine, right? He's actually a musician, right? Which is cool. So anyway, all that was great. A lot happened in 2 days. It was awesome. I had like the best 2 days out there. It was great. Got to fly Spirit Airlines, by the way. Spirit Airlines from Seattle was $65 round trip. Now, in Spirit, there's no carpet. The seats don't have a tray table or a place to put your magazines, and you kind of have to flap your wings to get going. And we all had to put through the Fred Flintstone stop thing, but it was otherwise a good airline. We did a good job. Last night, if you didn't catch it, Alfredo did a great cruise recap. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it again. Again, it's the kind of show you can watch when you're in the car or walking your dogs, because it's not plane craps. He's talking about the cruise, and Alfredo had a similar experience to me on the cruise, right? First cruise ever, loved it, loved every bit of it. Had a good time. They had bigger betters on their cruise than we had on our cruise. So the gameplay was a little bit different in terms of play styles, but they had a great time. He interviewed Don Wood, who's again part of Premier Hosting. And you can see the logo down there. Premier Casino Hosting, by the way, is I have them on the shows now, not as a sponsor, but because I work with them. I'm one of the Premier, what they call a sub rep or a partial host with them. So yeah, they're a big part of our show, a big part of our community. We're bringing them in to everything. They're going to be here with me, educating us all the time now, because they've got great information about how to work for comps and all that stuff, and how to do the cruise thing right. So you can expect to hear a lot of commentary live with me from Don Wood and Michael Feldman here on the shows coming up. But yeah, Premier is a big part of things, and Alfredo had a great time with them. Him and Giuseppe. I think Giuseppe is also going to be a sub host with them as well. So good recap. It was fun to hear that. And like, as Alfredo's talking, I'm picturing my cruise. It was just good memory. Nothing but good vibes on the cruise, man. Nothing but good vibes. All right. All that said, I'm going to kick things off. We're going to kick a few things off here. Slight change to this show. Slight change, not a big one. We're also going to talk a little bit about Craps for the Cure 24 today. Going to kick that thing off officially, and we're going to kick off the Gambling 401 series. So with that said, let's jump ahead here and talk about, quote unquote, the new coffee run. Joe, yes sir. See, now we got to go back a screen, because I'm going to put this on screen because it's such an important thing to talk about. Waylon, I love your channel, dude. I do love your channel, but I said it's not good for dog walking. Like I got to see you roll the dice, and I got to see you do the bets. When I'm walking the dog, I can't see it. I'm just too stupid, I guess, to picture it. You know what I mean? So that's my only joke. Anyway, Joe says, NJ, home of the pork roll and tasty cakes. And don't forget, right? I'm pretty sure Louie's out here, right? Louie's here. Anybody else from the East Coast, I want you to give me the clap emoji right now if you love you some Scrapple. Now, most people in the chat have no idea what I just talked about. But if you're from Jersey, you know what I'm talking about. Haberset's Scrapple is life. Give me some greasy ass diner with a plate full of Scrapple and ketchup. Oh my God. Right? That's what it's all about. There it is. There's your Friday Follies. All right. So Coffee Run's going to change this way. We're going to still do the news and notes like I just did this morning. It'll be a longer segment like today, right? What's happening in our world, right? What's happening in our world. I don't want it to be Vegas news. I know that Jeremy from Color Up's got a podcast where he does a lot of Vegas news. I don't want to do that kind of stuff. David does a lot of that stuff too. I want to talk about what we're doing. I want to get back to watching Waylon, get back to watching Jeremy, get back to watching Ryan and Jeff and Joe, and really watching your shows and talking about every day what I saw yesterday. Like, I want to get back to that, because I feel like I've lost a little bit of touch with the community in terms of like what's actually happening, because I've been so damn busy. So I'm going to try and do more of that, right? We'll have a little bit of a sponsor segment every day. I'll give you updates on Premier Hosting and what we're doing with Premier Hosting every day. And matter of fact, good time to just jump in really quick and remind you of a new thing, right? Remind you of something new, which is a new cruise coming up here in June, which is going to be on Carnival. So that's Carnival next June, a year from now. We have a lot of time to fill this boat up, but it's going to be a big one. And I've not done Carnival. People love them some Carnival. So there's that. My contact information on screen, john@procrafts.net, 702-518-6442 is my number. If you want information or get ready for that, let me know. We can start the process now. Anyway, back to regular. Oh, that's the wrong one. Back to regular here. We're also going to give a daily Craps for the Cure update. I'll get into that here in a minute. I'll show you where we are. It's going to be kind of a punch list of sorts of where we are with the process of Craps for the Cure, donations update, that kind of thing. The daily paycheck, by the way, will change slightly. That show every day is going to be what it is. We're going to do a short game for the win. Today I did 2 weeks of play in 1 hour, right? We're going to do it every day. I'm going to do my 2-3 hits and out, win my paycheck. which is going to be to build the bankroll. That's the purpose of that show. But that happens in 5 minutes, right? So like a Wayland show, like, the first 5 minutes, if I did it or not, then you can go back to your day. I want the next 50 minutes of that show to be me taking excess money and working strategies. This is where I can have like a side bankroll and say, let's go ahead and name the strategy. Pick one, and we'll do it for a week or something like we did before. I'll take a Wayland thing or I'll take a Ryan thing, and we'll just roll something out with excess for the next 45 minutes. So it'll be like a strategy test following my daily paycheck, because I don't want the paycheck to be the dominant thing. So we'll do like 2 paychecks a day. We'll do like the actual paycheck, and we'll do like a strategy hammer. I'll roll the strategy out for 45 minutes every day, and we'll roll it for a week and do what we did before, some more testing. Does that make sense? The coffee run show, this show, I will come back and recap that. So we'll do a little score check and a recap. It'll be quick, just in case you missed it, kind of a thing. And then this show here, the main segment of the show, like it's always been, will be something short, 15 minutes or so. Gambling 401 lectures, strategy testing, whatever it's going to be. The idea is to cut that thing out and put it up on the Pro Craps channel. Or if I do like a Pro Roulette channel, which may be in the works, if I do something and it's a teaching segment that I can cut that piece out of this show and re-release it, I will do that. And of course, we'll always end with Q&As. So with every show, put a PC or a Q in front of anything you want me to look at. And at the end of the shows or during it, if I can find them, I will answer questions live. This show meant to be more interactive. It's been a lot of lecture. I want it to be more give and take. So please throw PCs at me all the time during the show. I've always got my thing filtered where I'm looking for PC comments so I can actually address them as we go. All right. And speaking of, Ryan, did I hit the ATS? I hit just legs. I hit the small every day. I hit it twice one day and once the next day. Never got a 12 the entire weekend. Not 112 the whole weekend. I don't know about this. I will ask. I will ask the Don and Michael about that. I don't know. But good question. Again, this is a cruise line I've never been on before, so I don't know. I don't have all the ins and outs just yet. I got that flyer actually yesterday from Michael Feldman, so I'm just learning about it right now. So let's see what is next. So that's the coffee runs changes. The Craps for the Cure, and again, you'll see a screen like this every day with updates, and things will change as we go. Right. Right now, here's what we got. We've got the dates are going to be October 19th weekend in Las Vegas. I don't know where we're going to play live yet. I'm really trying for a live table. I'm really trying hard to figure that out. And I don't know where we're going to do the interviews yet. These interview and breakout sessions that I want to do, like, we did with everybody last year. Will they be at Casino Quest, or will they be like in a conference room at the casino? I don't know yet. That's TBD, still being determined for sure. On the Craps of the Cure note, by the way, Joe says, I've already donated to support Mooch. I know you have because I didn't want to call you out, but now you called yourself out. I can do this. I got a text message from Lori Sittner over at Veterans Moving Forward, who is our charity of choice for Craps of the Cure, who wanted to thank me. She said, I want you to know somebody named Joe donated to Mooch, and I thought you should know that. So thank you for doing that. Super cool that you did it. And that's coming up here, right? This is like the donation streams are this, right? And I'm going to try and give a live update as we go here. I'm actually putting together a set of screens for the show that show some of this, like the live donation, like not a thermometer, but where we are. So we're going to bring money into this charity this year, and we're learning how to do it year over year, right? Pre-event donations, like Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps, amazing at pre-event donations, right? He does a lot of super chats during his shows. I'm going to start doing the same thing. I'm going to start asking for money during the paycheck show, during this show. I may do a Crapsy thing during the daytime at some point where, let's donate some money. And that money just gets earmarked aside, $5 at a time towards the pre-event. And we can actually roll into the event with those, big giant checks. Here's, $5,000 from Mid-Atlantic Craps. Here's $2,000 from John, whatever. That's going to happen across all the shows. So I'll give you ways to do pre-event donations ahead of time. I'm going to talk to Chuck about a potential Crapsy tie-in. I don't know what that even looks like yet. There's so much Crapsy going on. Brian's going live with Crapsy now. There's so much Crapsy happening. Is there a way that we can tie in Crapsy to the thing where maybe there's a way in Crapsy for Chuck to say, hey, you want to, donate an extra $1, or when you do a buy-in, charge $1 for the buy-in, and something like that. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to talk to him next week. Um, we're going to earn money for the charity from live table spots. We already talked about people who want to play on the live table having kind of a pre-donation to kind of earn their hour at the table or so. Of course, attendance tickets for the Casino Quest, live stream donations like we always do, super chats, in-person donations, the drop boxes, slot tickets, casinos. We're talking about doing match plays, and of course, it's not on here, but of course, there's the big auction and the raffle. So I'm going to make this page kind of like a tally board at some point. Once we have the streams in place and I have a way to update them in real time, I'll get that ready. So this screen every day will be a quick kind of a where we are. It'll be a 2-second screen to give you updates on things that change. But in addition to that, as I get the schedule rounded out, I will also update this screen with the actual schedule of events, what time things are going to kick off, who we're going to interview, right? I'm trying to get interviews with casino staff, like actual, like, give me a pit boss to talk about how they rate you. What are they doing? How do they comp work? How does casino credit work? Those kind of things. We're going to talk with, of course, Don and Michael about hosting, and Eric Hazel about hosting. We'll talk with Brian and probably Don as well about cruising. David will always do a dice lesson with us for sure. I'm trying to get Bo and or Heavy to do another session of betting lessons with us. Potentially have Garrison out there again. Garrison's a great guest. Garrison, by the way, I know he can be not divisive. He's a pretty normal guy, but people get kind of squirrely with him. He's a great dude. Garrison is a big supporter of us. Like he donated a lot of things to the charity the last couple of years, money, actual money, and prizes and giveaways, right? He's really a big supporter. So I love to give him the screen time and just talk to him. He's a nice guy. I'm picturing some competitions. I'm not sure where they are. We talked to George about having the strategist of the year and the shooter of the year going on the table at the same time for like an hour, right? And just have a 4-people table and like have them just kind of raise a whole shit ton of money for the charity at the very end. That's kind of the thing we talked about. So yeah, anyway, none of this stuff is etched in stone. These are all ideas, right? All this stuff is just ideas that I have on ways to raise money and ways to spend our time together meaningfully at the event. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. I will also be sharing with you our punch list every day. The kind of the project management side of me will come out, and you'll see kind of the what's in progress, what's been done, what's kind of in the backlog for us to get done. So locking in the casino, locking in CQ, scheduling guests, getting prices figured out, donation modalities, how we're going to produce the thing, how we're going to get the feed to work from 2 different locations potentially, who's going to work with me, who's going to be my staff and crew this year. I got a Zoom call kind of in the works here to get the initial kind of quote unquote board together to talk through a lot of this stuff. I'll use this time every day to give you sort of a 5-minute overview of where we are in the punch list, where we are with scheduling folks, and where we are with the current state of the donation. So every day you can expect a 5-minute Craps for the Cure update as we go. So when we get to Vegas, there's no surprises. Okay. And just so you know, the TBD in Vegas is where we're going to be. You can book flights to Vegas if you want to. Do not book any hotels to Vegas for that weekend. And that's the weekend for sure. I'm working really, really hard at finding a casino host, a host casino rather, that will put us up, right? I'm trying hard to get a block of rooms either comped or at a very reduced rate for all of us attendees. So I know that I'm asking a lot in terms of, hey, come out, spend your money to fly, spend your money to gamble, spend your money to donate, spend your money. And right, I'm asking for a lot of money. I'm going to do all I can to get you fed and get you stayed for as cheap as possible. So I'm working my ass off to make this thing affordable. So you've got close to a 0 cost to be there as we can. Okay. I'm really working hard at that. So that's what this is. These screens here, by the way, are kind of keep John honest screens. I'm doing this stuff so I can be accountable to you every day with the progress that I'm making, the progress the team is making, the assemblage of the team, and what's going on. So the purpose of these slides every day in the show is to give you kind of where we are. Okay. Speaking of where we are, the paycheck, for the month of March, we only played 11 times. Today doesn't count. We're just fronting around out there. A lot of travel this month, a lot of going back and forth. So hopefully starting Monday, June will be a full month of play and a little more. We were 9-2 this month. We hit our 80% number. When you hit 80%, you're going to win, right? Looking to win $1,000 a day, by the way. the magic number about winning $1,000 a day to me is that when you have the 80% win goal, your net is about 500 a day. And that you can kind of see that here, right? Over the course of what, 11 sessions, we won $4,200, right? You're not quite $500 a day, but that's kind of what you're after. That average kind of works out pretty good. We have been easing in. I like the hit it and get it, right? Build up, stand pat, or draw down, some way of playing it that earns us that money quickly and easily. And then we're going to do a test bet. I'm going to take excess wins and we're going to run excess plays, and doing strategy runs. Basically, I'm going to do is I'm going to take, like, from the master bankroll. My plan is this: I'm going to buy in for whatever, 5,000, 6,000 bucks, whatever the number is. Hopefully, win our paycheck, right? Then come back out with 500 bucks out of the master bankroll. We're going to burn, the big risk to win the paycheck, but I'm going to take 500 bucks every day out of the bankroll, and we're going to run that as an excess play, and run whatever I said, something from Waylon, something from Jeremy, something from somewhere, for 500 bucks every day, and just put it to its test and just see how that thing does. If it can make money or stay pat, that's a good way to kind of test ourselves out with a little bit of juice in the game. So that is it's that plan right there. So that's the daily paycheck. Again, so far, nothing to update you with here because we did nothing new today, but we're up about $27,000, which is good. All right. The next thing that we're going to talk through then is going to be our 401 gambling plan. So we're going to get back to school, right? We did gambling 101. We did gambling 201, 301. I'll talk about those in a minute. We're going to get to gambling 401 here starting, I think, next week. And again, running through all of this stuff, right? The goals, the strategy, the bankroll, the mindset, the discipline. That's the kind of my core tenets. What makes me me are those things right there. What really makes me me is the way I connect them all. I succeed because I connect things pretty well, I think. So today we're going to talk about, and again, high level overview. Session 1, we're going to talk about the 401 plan. Okay. So winning ways is going to be kind of the name of the series. And, here's where we are. In 101, we focused on mindset. Gambling 101 was all about the mental part. Remember, we talked about, are you conservative? Are you aggressive player? Right? Are you right? Understanding the casino tactics, everything about the brain. That was gambling 101. Gambling 201, we really got into bankroll and money management and bank accounts and logging things and being kind of a nerd about stuff, right? I think bringing out your inner nerd helps because you have a history log of tracking of how you're doing. But also, to me, when I write stuff down and I revisit it, like, I have to go and write down this loss today, right? It keeps you accountable to yourself. That's an important piece of it, right? And that was gambling 201. Gambling 301, all about the math, right? We did house edge, we did calculations, we did unit math. I've got another episode of that to film. I want to talk about recovery systems. What does it look like to recover from loss that we talk about a lot? That's another math show. But now in 401, we're going to get into putting it all together. Now, just as a preview of this, I'm going to do a lot of it in craps because I'm a craps player. I teach craps. That's my favorite game. I will do some in roulette. I'll do a couple of things in baccarat, but really it doesn't matter what the game is. The difference in the games is where your bets go, right? But really, the way that you win, the way that we're going to focus this 401 session on is kind of this level up. It's going to be like, what's your will to win, your discipline? Like, in other words, if I go for a coffee run, and this is a good week, this week was a good example for me because I went to Vegas. I had appointments at a certain time. So I actually had a built-in time limit. I had to be in the Uber by 9 o'clock, right? Get up, 7 o'clock, shower, teeth, breakfast, at the table at 8:15. Uber's coming at 8:45, right? I got a half an hour. So I'm limited by time, okay? Discipline. Can't stay longer. I build that in, right? Is it okay to win a couple times, right? 2, 3, 4 hits, turn it off and go out and catch your ride to work, right? 2, 3, 4 hits, come back home, go to your day job, right? That's your will to win, your will to walk away a winner, right? Focused approach. We're going to talk a lot about focusing and your approaches. I've talked so many times about my 3-phase play, right? Get on, right? Get your money back, lock a little bit of profit up, pedal to the floor, right? The approach that you take. It might be get your money back, make a little profit and walk out. That could be an approach too, right? Your approach could just be, let me just go out there, take one heavy duty crack at it. Win or lose and I'm out. That's fine. but we're going to talk about your approach and how you focus that in. We're going to try and build your toolkit up with strategies, plans, and patterns of betting. I'm not going to do strategies. We're not going to do the Iron Cross. We're not going to do the drawdown. We're not going to talk about actual strategies. I'll leave that to Jeremy, to Waylon, to Ryan, and the others that are out there doing strategy work. That's not my thing. Okay. I'm going to give you the tools to build a strategy. We're going to talk about pressing patterns, ways to press your bets in all the different games, right? Half press, full press, press up, pull down. Those same patterns work no matter what your game is. If you're going to same bet the 6, it's no different than same bet in a dozen. In roulette, no different than same betting a win in baccarat, right? Big bet, regress down is the same in every game. We're going to talk about that. I want you to build your toolkit of things you can do to construct your own strategies. I want 401 to not be me telling you how to play the Iron Cross. I want 401 you to walk away with enough knowledge about how your game works and ways to bet and ways to kind of catch a run, if you can catch one, to construct your own strategies and not just rely on something you saw on the web, right? Or something you saw on YouTube. I want your toolkit to be your toolkit. My goal with this whole thing is you to walk out of here with like a skill and luck sort of mindset. Like, okay, I see all these things, right? I like that. I like this. I like that. I understand the math. I know my bankroll. This is my way of playing. I want you to have the knowledge to piece all that stuff together. That's what I want. Okay. We're going to talk about practicing in 401. Okay. Whether it's dice throwing, that's one thing you can practice, right? You can practice your betting. I say this all the time. When I'm in the garage and I'm working here at my table, I practice everything. I got my rack set up. I got my dollar, right? I practice going pay, drop my dollar and say 15 for 1. I practice what I say, right? Ed says it, practice like you play like you practice, right? It's great advice. And it's not just for dice throwers. It's for everything, okay? Why? You don't want to make a mistake out there, right? Especially in craps or roulette. Roulette, where you're doing the strategy where it's like, you lose these 4 bets, you bump up. It's a lot of moving around in some of these things. You got to practice that because you don't want to go out there and screw it up in real time. I want you to be on autopilot. I want you to enjoy your time at the table, right? Enjoy counting your wins or whatever. I don't want you to be out there going, what is 4 times 3 again? 4 times 3 minus 1. I don't want you thinking about that stuff. Have that here. You practice it with poker chips on your desktop, what your bets are going to be so that you can be fast and accurate, right? Practicing means practicing everything. Practicing walking away. Oh my God, I won $63. My goal was 50 on my little table back here. Guess what? Time for coffee. Walk out of my room. You know how hard it is sometimes? I'm down here working a strategy. Like I do this. I do this. I work my strategy. I'm playing a thing. And I'm like, I rolled it. Oh, I won $65, right? And I'm like, my goal was 50. You know, I walk away. I actually leave my office. I go out that door, up the stairs, get a glass of water, and I come back refreshed. Like I have to practice leaving this office. You got to do that too. That's part of going forward. We're going to talk about all the ways to practice. Okay. Knowledge. The final piece is knowledge, learning your game. Again, I'm going to do a lot of work in craps because it's my game. Right? I will do other things as examples, but I will not teach you the games. I'll leave that to Casino Quest, right? They've got, and there's other YouTubers out there as well that do it, but Casino Quest has got a full player immersion system where they teach you how to play. Use that. They have it online and in person. You're going to get to do that with them online. Use that. Learn the game. Learn the bets. Learn the way that the mechanics of a game work better than I could ever teach you besides craps, right? When you have that and you're practicing your betting patterns, that is where your level up is because again, it's on autopilot. You don't want to be at the table going, what do I do again? What does that pay? You don't want to be there. You want to be like on autopilot. That way your experience is so much better. You can talk to your fellow players. You can enjoy the dealers. You can enjoy the fun of playing the game and not having to think through the game the whole time because that could be heavy on you, right? That's Gambling 401. That's where we're going to head in this series. And that's my goal for us as we go through it. So I hope to kind of tie the whole thing together. Why am I down here? House always wins. That's a weird slide to finish on. But I guess I can say this, the house does always win, right? let's not discount that statement. All right. Let's finish up here with our question. I'm going to go actually and check on some cues here. Good morning, El Toro. I love it when Craps royalty comes to watch the show. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good, right? It makes me feel like I'm in the right space when I get royalty showing up. I love it, man. Good job. Joe says that's a fact. 99% I can't shoot. What? Oh, 97%. Most people can't shoot. I can't shoot. I had a 50 roller this week, with one of my runs out there. I like to joke about how I shoot. I'm not that bad, but that's not my game. Other people, I think, they craft their game and their persona and their way of playing around how they shoot. I don't. I'm more of I like to think I'm a pretty good bettor. And I like to think that if I happen to be shooting well, it makes my betting better, like more effective. That's why I look at shooting as making my bets more effective. I don't look at shooting as the driver for me. And that's kind of where my final thoughts on dice control really are. It's like, to me, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the pursuit. I like the mind F that you get from trying to figure shit out. But honestly, I'm just trying to make my bets more effective. And I really focus on the betting and that kind of stuff. So there we go. I will probably do skill and luck, a 401. I was thinking about calling it like gambling 501, which is like learn the games, and do like a full craps series, a full roulette series, and a full whatever series, kind of going through all the games. 501 makes it feel too advanced. So I might go back and do like a craps 101, 201, 301, 401, roulette 101, 201. I might do that again with the games. And say like the gambling 101 through 401 series is about generic gambling concepts, and each game could have their own kind of series. I don't know how to do that yet. How to do it in terms of like show prep or whatever else. So we'll think about that. Okay. So with that said, let's go through any other PC comments for me. Let's see. On point craps. Do you think the switch? No, you know what? I don't think so. There was, I think, 2 times on the cruise that I was on, and that boat was enormous, right? Freaking enormous. 2 times where I think I was in the casino where I felt it. I actually was like, ooh, that was, we rocked a little bit there. And it was really windy. I almost never felt the rock of the boat. Almost never. Well, I walk the stairs all the time. And, when you're walking, you kind of feel it. I walk the outside the ship. I almost never felt it, really. One guy said during one session, it feels like the table's tilted, and maybe it was tilted, right? Because you're kind of, I never personally felt it like that was the impacted a thing, but you can feel it a little tiny bit. Let's see. Wales, I want to see more roulette. Yes. On a single, I'll tell you the double, the 000 should be a no-go for everybody. Although I'm going to put this out there. This might be a bad thing to say. 000 sucks for every reason. However, single zero, the zero's at the top of the wheel. 000, they're at top and bottom. 000, they're 1, 2, 3 together. Okay. Which makes the 3-0 bet. If you're a believer that a croupier can hit a zone on the board, which they all can do, I think it's like ball control, I guess, right? Then the 000 roulette is an opportunity potentially because those 3 are side by side. Anyway, yes, once I learn single zero, I will do a lot of single zero content. I really believe that that's a thing for us to get into. The betting is different. The progressions are different. Everything is different. I was talking to Alex about it over at Casino Quest. He's like, you have no idea. Everything is it's a whole different world of everything, betting, dealing, the whole thing. David said that dealing single zero roulette is harder than dealing craps, which seems insane to me, right? Because craps got all those different bets and all the moves. Single zero dealing is harder. That game though is almost always at least a $25, but usually it's a $50 or $100 game, right? It's big money. It's big money play. So not for everybody, but you do find single zero online. So there's a thing there. So anyway, I 100% Waylon want to get into more of that stuff. I think that's going to be a level up for our show for sure. Skill and Luck wants more trips around the table. I gotta think about that show again. I've talked to some people and I love the idea of that show. Like it's like this whole thing I say where practice makes perfect, right? You can throw and you can bet and you can play and you're on autopilot and you can talk to people, right? When I'm at the table, I'm kind of talkative, right? I can talk and pay attention at the same time. That was the idea of that show. Turns out that it doesn't translate well to TV. Like trying to talk to somebody and listen to a question and ask a question and roll the dice and log crapsy and be excited about the rolls. All 5 of those things happening at the same time was just it's too confusing. So I got to figure another way out of doing the show. Maybe it's I'm throwing the dice and we don't care about crapsy. Maybe it's just I'm throwing the dice as we're talking, and it's just the table becomes the background noise to the conversation. Maybe that's how it goes. I don't know yet. Got to figure that show out. I like the idea of it. But yeah, the King of the Mountain, we got to get that figured out too. King of the Mountain's got to come back at some point, and as does the Battle Royale. When I move into the new house is when I'll probably revisit those things. Right now, you can't see it, but I got boxes everywhere. I've packed up. The entire office is packed up. I can't do any extra time right now. But once we're moved, then for sure I'll do that. Yeah. Let's see. 3-1 about the math is same as Craps 101. To some degree, Craps 101 to me is the math. Craps 101 to me is going to be more about the rhythm of the game. Like for a brand new person who walks, I don't know how to play craps. Like Craps 101 is really going to be a lot about like, what's the puck doing? What's my basic etiquette? You know, all the things that we all probably take for granted to the most part, but like what's happening? Why are you telling me to bet the pass line and not the other numbers? Well, at first I want you to just learn what the puck is doing. For a $10 investment, let's watch the puck and let's get a rhythm of the game. And while the puck is going, we can learn other things. That's Craps 101, really. It's some math involved, but very basics, very basics on that. But yeah, I agree. Let's see. Jen says ship. No, I always say boat. I'm sorry. I grew up in a resort town. I grew up in Cape May, New Jersey, and I worked on boats. I worked on fishing boats, right? So to me, if it's out on the water, it's a boat. I've got to use my words. As Jen says, use your words, Johnny. I'll get there. I promise. The more I cruise, the more I'll get it right. Yes. Scrapple, the Scrapple conference, and Mullica Hill. No kidding. The Scrapple, I'm telling you. And somebody I think said it too. I'm gonna search for Scrapple. I want to check out who said Scrapple. Jen says Scrapple's gross. Scrapple's, as long as you don't know what's in Scrapple, right? Just ignore what it is, right? Because somebody I think said it in chat. Scrapple is all the pig, none of the squeal. It's like literally like when a pig goes into the slaughterhouse, nothing comes out. Like the pig goes in and like an empty cage comes out, right? They use every bit of the pig, the hair, the nut sack, the eyelids, everything gets in, right? The last 2 things they make, hot dogs and Scrapple. It's like hot dogs get the good, like the ear goes to the hot dog, the eyelids go to the Scrapple. Like that's literally Scrapple's like everything else. And it's so good. It's the grossest thing when you think about it, but God, it is so good. Oh my God, I love Scrapple. Love Scrapple. Anyway, yeah. Single Zero and the Plaza. Yeah, and is that $25 game? I think it's $25 game. Yeah, Jonathan Shakespeare of Dice Talk. That's cool. There you go. El Toro says craps is about learning how to bet effectively first, right? Shooting comes second. And it amplifies. All it does is prolong it, right? Shooting prolongs it, maybe. And if you know how to bet, press, do your thing, if you happen to be shooting in a pocket and you're getting a bunch of 9s, knowing how to bet the 9 is great. If you're throwing more 9s, it makes that better. That's really all it's about to me, right? And I like to keep it as simple as I can. I don't want to put that kind of weight on the practice itself. To me, the most important thing is being a good bettor, a smart bettor, and having that discipline, right? I'm like a broken record. All right. City's vegetarian now. You got to try Scrapple. If you have not been to it, you have to go. And here's the thing too. And the East Coast people, I know that Louis just said about Mullica Hill. It's got to be Habersets. There's a bunch of companies that make Scrapple. It's got to be Habersets. They're the only ones that make it right. I've had others that are terrible. Habersets is great. And pork roll's got to be Taylor. If it's not Taylor pork roll, it ain't pork roll. Like that's just the way that's where my way of thinking. There's your education. There's craps, gambling, and discussing food talk all in the same show. And with that said, it is exactly almost 9:00. So I had fun today. I'm glad to be back. I'm happy that y'all stuck with me and listened to all that. Run up what's going to happen. I'm going to prep all weekend for the Gambling 401 kickoff next week, and I will Also work on like my project management boards and organization stuff for the Craps of the Cure. And again, there won't be a lot of movement right away, um, but a lot of to do items. You'll watch how we kind of task through things and get it all done. So, all that said, y'all, great morning. Happy back. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend, everybody. And I will see you on Monday for the first shows of June. And with that said, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.